Tucson, Arizona. First time here. Enjoying it very much. My wife wasn't able to make it today, but she'll be on the trail tomorrow. Enjoying it very much. I'm going to pass it back to the Cherokee.
This is Robert Braun from Noblesville, Indiana. I have my wife Emily, our daughter Emma, and our dog Jaxie all with us. And fun fact, we were the winners of the BFG tires last year at EJS Safari. Last year was our first year, so this will be our second. And I'll pass it back to the guy behind me.
This is Bill and Kim Hoffman from Bakersfield, California. This is our first time out here at the EJS Safari, and we're really enjoying it. And we are in the gray four-door Willie.
Okay, well, I believe it was the Trailhawk that was trying to talk, and all we got out of your radio, sir, was just a loud squeal. So we're going to have you take a look at that. I believe it was a Trailhawk. If I'm wrong about that, please let me know, and let's continue the introductions on back.
Well, we have behind the Trailhawk, and not sure if you heard me or not. Bill and Kim Hoffman from Bakersfield, California. First time out here at the EJS Safari, and we are in the gray four-door Willie.
Any more folks for trail introductions?
This is Brandon and Jennifer from Fallon, Nevada, and Black YJ, and we're the ones right in front of the tail gunner. First Easter Jeep Safari, and just out here having a good old time, freezing up us off. Passing her back to the tail gunner. Alright, so George Schultz family, my son is with me. Wyatt, his wife-elect Kaylee is with me today. My wife is not with us today. She had to do a project, so she won't be joining us here at all, unfortunately. But we've been doing this most of our lives, if not all of it, at some point. Anyway, we appreciate you guys coming out with us and allowing us to be part of your adventures here in Moab and part of Easter Jeep Safari. And I just wanted to say one thing. Earlier it was mentioned about the founding of the Jeep Safari. The founding of the Jeep Safari was actually by the Moab Chamber of Commerce way back when. My father actually founded the Red Rock Four-Wheelers, which took over the Easter Jeep Safari. I just want to get that correction in there so there wasn't any animosity if somebody knew the history of the Chamber of Commerce.
We're going to be going near the uranium mines.
Do what?
We're going to be going near the uranium mines.
Okay. So why would ours just squeal?
I'll have to take a look. Could be a background in the back on the antenna. Could be the tuning's not right on it.
white sheet of paper, we have Marceline listed, but on the pink sheet, only you signed it. Is Marceline with you, or are you by yourself?
I'm by myself today.
Okay, thank you very much. I'll cross your name off the white sheet. I appreciate it. Thank you.
So you had to register me and Emma?
Just the driver and the Jeep, but you can add passengers.
So as we drive along Spring Canyon Bottom Road here, the area to the right of us, and we're coming up to a turn here in a little bit, is the Secret Spire Trail. So if you have any interest in the Secret Spire Trail, it's really a good one. I highly recommend it. You can come on out and it will cover the country to the right of us.
Look, the windows were down. I keep fucking
Fudging it.
trust me, she's not listening to me. She does.
Oh, is she?
I don't know what to do. Only got part of an earbud.
I didn't wake her up. She was wide awake when I got out of the bathroom.
Did you start editing our video yesterday?
So as we come around the corner here up where the trail leader is, you will see some signs of oil drilling. There is a lot of oil drilling in this country, and one of the reasons is because of the geologic formations that occur. One interesting little point about some of the geology of the area is under us is a giant salt dome, which is one of the reasons why there was so much upheaval back millions of years ago, which caused the formations that we all enjoy and see. And while I've read several different descriptions of this salt dome, basically it's about 300 miles in diameter under us, and anywhere from 30 miles to 100 miles deep. It's a giant salt dome, and it's actually liquid. So kind of an interesting fact about the geology. All right, Deadman Springs Trail, we are going to be making a right-hand turn up here shortly. So please make sure that the Jeep behind you sees you make that turn.
Turn was back there though. We never came out this far.
Make the turn. Thank you, Joel. the Deadman Springs Trail. And the reason that it got its name is because back in the early, roughly around 1910 or so, cattlemen were running cattle in the area, and they were using the canyon that Spring Canyon is located in as a box canyon to fence in and to box in their cattle. And that way they could use the natural rock formations for three sides and then just built a fence along the outside edge. Well, at some point in time, some cowboys came up here and found a man dead in the spring, and that's how it got its name of Deadman Springs Trail.
Tail gunners made the right. Also, another tidbit on the oil and gas exploration. Most of these sites that you see that either have the wells or the storage are on state land. Those lands are administered by the state. They're to benefit school. They're school trust lands. So you saw them had a lottery or anything like that. So we do have school trust land, and the oil and gas leases are to benefit our school system.
Okay, Deadman Springs Trail, we are going to be making a left-hand turn up here in a little bit when we get off of this gravel road. And it's at that time in that left-hand turn that I typically recommend to folks that it would be a good time to put it into four-wheel drive and put it into low range so that we can just take our time and enjoy the trail.
Used to seeing you in a blue Jeep, John.
Yeah, I know, Jim. I'm not used to seeing me in it either. I'm still getting used to it. But boy, in some ways it's really, really nice compared to the black one. But in other ways, that black one was superior. Back there, so we're doing good. So Deadman Springs Trail, I'm going to try to keep a rather brisk pace today. And the reason is because I want to give us plenty of time at the lunch site and at the springs and at the Green River Overlook to get out and walk around and look at things. So I'm going to try to keep a pace that is a pretty good one to save time. So if we do get going too fast for you and we get all spread out, just holler out on the radio and we'll slow things down. But if you don't mind today, I'd like to kind of keep us moving right along.
So what trail are those guys taking that are going down the main road now, John?
That is going to be the Deadman Point Trail.
Is that the one where that road goes down to the Green River?
Well, I'm not quite sure how to answer that. The answer is yes and no. You can get down to the Green River, but that's not the official Green River Road Trail. if that makes sense.
No eject seat.
Okay, well, I took that one that goes down the Green River. That's kind of a neat little trail.
It is, and I think you're probably talking about maybe Ajo Canyon.
I don't know what canyon it was, but that's the one we took. So, gonna head to the left?
Jackson,
No, get down.
Thank you, George.
No, lay down. Lay down.
So also, as we jeep along this trail today, and we do get to some little places, some drainages that we go down into and then climb back out of. If you think that there's a spot that you would like to have a spotter come and help you get down or up, boy, just holler out. And myself or Joel or George will be glad to give you a hand. We've also got Scott and Tanner back there that are very competent doing that. Jim Tapman, I may ask you to help spot today, Jim, sometime during the day if we need it. So we got lots of folks here who are competent spotters, so don't hesitate to holler out if you need one.
Yeah, we get a ring, but you're going to have to learn it all over again.
We'll still accidentally take the easy ones. Emma, do you feel rocking? Go to sleep.
As we're driving along this trail here, you'll notice, of course, the pine tree looking trees, juniper pines, pinyon pines, depending upon the particular species. But a lot of people will ask the question and say, well, why do they look like they're half dead? Well, the reason they do that is for self-survival. These trees have the ability that during years of severe drought or other severe conditions, the trees actually have the ability to kill off part of their own tree so the rest of the tree can survive. And so that's why you will see some trees that look half dead on one side but not the other, or certain sections are dead, and that makes them survive. And survive they do because some of these trees that we're going to see, especially around the springs, have been dated to be about 1,000 years old.
That's crazy. Do what? Sleep yet?
No, like on our tablet, but it gave up. That's why it rang when you were trying to.
Oh, is that what was ringing?
Yeah.
I was like, who's calling me? I didn't even pay attention.
No, that's her tablet turning on. I'm hoping she'll just play until she falls asleep.
Hey, John, along this section of the trail, there's a really good viewpoint at the Henry Mountains over there. On those mountains, you probably got, you details on the story of those, don't you?
Yeah, the Henrys are the smaller one. I should have known that's my middle name.
I knew it was a name that I should remember, but I couldn't remember what it was. Charge it.
Extension cord in the garage.
I mean, I'm not really expecting us to get it, but we should know logistics.
We should know logistics. It also has a gas engine, babe.
How many miles will it go on?
In hybrid mode, you get about, I think somebody said they get about 35 miles per gallon.
Because it charges while you drive gas, right?
Yep. And then when you're braking, it recharges the batteries by taking the friction heat from the brakes and transferring it to the inducer, which transfers the heat to energy.
But if you're on the highway...
So, okay, Deadman Springs Trail, as our trail, Benny and I, trail leaders have...
You're going downhill the mountain, you are?
Section, and we're down in the sand. And when you get down into the sandy road, you'll actually be looking out your windshield at the Henry Mountains, which are way off in the distance. Also, there is a little bit of the cliffs available just below the horizon, where at the Green River Canyon, which is where we're going to end today, at the Green River, to be able to take a quick look at it. And then as we go along and we look at some of these rock formations, sometimes we get questions about, well, why the different colors? What are the colors? Well, this whole area back in the day, and when I say back in the day, I'm talking millions of years ago now, was a sea. It was an ocean. And bear with me 1 minute, I gotta check something. Sorry about that. I was talking about the ocean and almost missed our right-hand turn. So Deadman Springs Trail, we are making a right-hand turn. Please make sure that everybody behind you sees you make the turn.
Most of us have not gone off the rock yet.
Okay, if we have a gap, then we will slow down a little bit, let everybody catch up.
Who cares? Just getting off the rocks now, Jen.
Okay, copy that, Joel. Thanks.
Is this a hard come down then?
I don't know. We'll find out.
Down's not our issue, it's up.
Yeah, that's why I told him. I was like, we'll get down to anything, no problem, with skid plate or rock rail or whatever, but going up stuff, we may need help.
What do you say?
He said, all right, there's not much stuff to go up on this trail.
Oh, that's fine. I don't mind down. It's up when you only see sky that
All right, well, as we're waiting for the group to catch up, let me talk a little bit about the geology. When you're looking at the rock formations, up at the very top of the highest ones, you'll see a light tan or almost white sandstone that is called Entrada. And the Arches National Park and a lot of Canyonlands are Entrada sandstone. Then under that layer, a slightly darker tan color, is Navajo. Again, arches and canyonlands are made up of Navajo sandstone. Those are the real slick looking, almost like mashed potato looking kinds of sandstone. The Entrada and the Navajo, real slick looking, round shapes. Then immediately under the Navajo is the Kayenta sandstone. And those are horizontal striations. So right now, a lot of the sandstone that we're looking at is Kayenta, because it's horizontal and has lots of layers, and it's kind of crusty looking. We're getting caught up sometime. Alrighty, so do we have any gap behind you, Joel?
Yeah, still a little bit behind the Jeep behind us, so maybe hold off another minute or two.
Copy that.
It's gonna be at an angle, so it's gonna feel weird.
Not even looks complete. What was the honk for?
Just that rock section where nobody wanted to bounce around.
The honking?
The one where we had to go down that top part.
Yeah.
That's where everybody was slowing down for.
No, people are honking.
Oh, I don't know. I don't hear anybody honking.
Oh, it's her damn tablet.
Alright, sounds like we are all grouped up again. We're going to continue on.
There's the oil.
Yeah.
Bump. Bump. Bump.
Sands are failing. I want him to continue on with the stories.
You like this a little bit. You have more fun with these trails anyways than the ones that are just like, yeah, it's a trail.
Yeah. I know you like more challenging.
It's okay, baby. I do want to get you out here in yours and have you do some stuff. Maybe one year we'll bring yours just for fun. And do like the freshman package again.
Oh, I mean, we'll see where we're at.
Because I do know you want to try practicing stuff, and a lot of these easier trails are nice, and most of them are women driving.
Well, I don't know if I want to be in a big group
Okay.
at first. Because I don't want to hook people up.
You're fine.
You might do. Give me a pointer.
Okay.
But what about Emma?
I'll sit back there with her.
What if I need help with spotting?
Thank you, George.
There's nothing on chicken corners you need help with spotting. Now that we got, like, if you see a big ledge on the right, just go to the left. Besides, you're going to want me to be GPSing the maps and figuring out where we need to go.
I just to be you.
Oh, stop it.
I just to be you.
No,
I don't know why.
It's a baby.
Is it just I had this voice? It's just a baby. It's so fun. Oh, the hiccups. You got them. Those hiccup mubs. You have a text. Thanks. Enjoy your vacation.
the trail leader is a classic example of what George was talking about of don't be a bump wimp. There is a little bit of a left-hand turn that you need to take, and there's about a 6-inch ledge that you need to go down. Some folks went around the right-hand side and widened the trail on the right-hand side just to get around a 6-inch ledge. So don't be a bump wimp. Just go over the ledge.
On that note as well, John, right now we're having some public comment pertaining to this very area we're in, as far as trail closures, road management with the BLM and the land management agencies. If you guys want to get your voice heard on these trails and their usages, you can go to our Facebook page. You can also go to our website, and those links are provided there where you can get involved with that if you feel the need.
Well, that would have been good, so I'm not on that side. We're turning towards the right.
So up here where John and Peggy are looking off out into the distance through the windshield, you can see some really great examples out there of the 3 different colors of sandstone. The almost white, the light gray, and then of course the which is the mashed potato looking type of sandstone, and then underneath it the Kayenta sandstone, which is the horizontal slab type sandstone.
We got a ledge here, so hold on a second.
Oh, that's what they're talking about? You don't want me to hold on to them. I can't find anything right here. It's an abyss. I know, I see dirt flying.
Give me a couple bumps here.
Taking my mops, am I? Oh, taking my mops. Get your letters.
Deadman Springs Trail, as we continue along the trail here, down where John and Peggy are, we're starting to get some really, really nice examples of the cryptobiotic soil that we were talking about before. And of course you can recognize this soil because they have the little dark brown, almost black nodules that kind of grow up out of the soil. And what those are is actually bacteria. Those are alive. Those are bacterial formations and they put a crust on the soil that helps it to not blow away. And what happens when you drive over the nodules and break them down, they're very fragile. And when you break them down, then it takes literally hundreds of years for them to grow back. And what happens during that time, during heavy winds, is the soil under blows away. And so you get all of the erosion that we don't want to have happen. The entire ecosystem out here of all of the plants that you see it would die if all of the cryptobiotic soil were to die for some reason. Everything else would also. The cryptobiotic soil is that important to the ecosystem out here. As we're driving along here and you're looking at the sagebrush and also the juniper pines and pinyon pines, you see some light green bushes, spiny looking things or spiny looking bushes that come up. That's Mormon tea. And they call it Mormon tea because yes, you can make tea. It's quite bitter and quite strong.
Give me a drop here, baby, so hold on a second.
Lived out here, especially on Sazi, they use that tea for many different medicinal purposes, for medicines and that kind of thing. It kind of had the same effect as Tylenol does today for us.
Here.
As we continue on this road, we are starting to get pretty close to Deadman Springs itself. And we've got some real nice rock formations here of Entrada and Navajo and Cayenta sandstone. We also, and I'm going to keep an eye out for some black brush because I haven't seen any quite yet, but in this area there are some black brush and it looks like it's dead. It's a black bush that looks like it's completely dead. And it's not. It's alive. That's the way it looks until it leaves out. And some of these bushes, these black bushes, I see one here to the immediate left of me that is starting to leaf out. Some of these black brush bushes can be 300 to 500 years old. So yesterday when we were coming through here, I got all excited with Scott when we were coming through because some of the black brush is actually leafing out, which I have never seen before, and it was hard for me to recognize it. It leaves out when there is adequate water, but if there's a real dry year and there's not enough water, it just doesn't even bother to, but that doesn't mean it's dead.
She sleep yet?
No,
Still on the tablet?
she dropped it, so. She's not around now. She goes to bed. So these little spiny things is
Microbe.
Okay, Deadman Springs Trail. We are coming into Deadman Springs itself, and we kind of have to wiggle our way around some trees and some rocks that have fallen, but it's no problem at all. Every vehicle we have with us can do the wiggling with no problem. We're going to be parking on a sandstone area, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to come all the way around, make a big loop around, and then I'm going to head back out towards the exit. And I'd like for everybody that's behind me to follow me, because we have to do a little bit of traffic management. So if everybody could just follow me at some point in time, then I will break the line and we'll start 2, possibly even 3 rows.
We're already here.
Lunch, yeah.
For lunch?
Yeah, this is lunch stop.
For the 2 Jeeps that have the dogs, unfortunately the dogs are going to need to be on the leashes. And there is a little ways up the creek from the spring, there are remains of a dead cow, so you don't want your dog to be getting into those bones and that material at all.
Deadman Dry Spring. So wait, we have to go up all this?
No, I don't think so. I think we go over that way. And there's a road that goes that way.
So, in my Jeep, would we be in 4-low and you would just kind of crawl down for us?
Mm-hmm.
So if you guys that are behind me would just kind of follow me around the circle here, I would appreciate it.
We'll definitely want to get your rock rails before we took it out here.
Yeah.
Probably do the 2-inch lift just to be safe. In fact, I think yours on the 2-inch lift will be about as high as mine is right now. That's just a fallen rock.
All right, folks, we want to give this spot about 20 minutes. So right at 11 o'clock, we want to all be back in our Jeeps and ready to go. So right at 11 o'clock. And it's ladies to the right and guys to the left.
I don't get that. That's what we're supposed to do in the bathroom?
Mm-hmm. So that way guys aren't spying on girls and girls aren't spying on guys. It's also one of the reasons why they won't let people bring drones. It's because they're worried people be recording women peeing. Which apparently has happened.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yep, still asleep.
Why is there a blanket in my seat?
Because I was trying to move everything so Jack wouldn't stand on them.
Why are the goldfish in my seat?
Because they fell out. Mister, nothing should fall out. Stay. Stay. Good girl.
Here's the spring area. They said the cow was up over here.
What size tires you got on here?
32 inch.
32. I've got a Grand Cherokee that I'm getting ready to lift. So I think I'm going to try to go all the way up to at least 32.
Yeah.
I don't want to go any more because they say you get real squirrely. I don't want to do that.
32 is about the limit because we're already starting to hit like turn points and everything. So unless we go to solid axles, that's pretty much where we're stuck at.
No one ate.
No
one ate food.
Well, maybe this wasn't lunch. Maybe it's just everybody wanted to see the actual Deadman Springs, what the trail's named after. Here's that, baby. You want Cheez-Its?
Not yet. No, I kind of want cheesy poofs. Crunchy cheesy poofs. And they're on the floor. That's her mouth. Drool just fell on Emma.
Really?
Oh, they have a paper.
Mm-hmm.
She's trying to pull you.
Is she really?
Yeah. She literally went, but she hit Emma's car seat instead. Are you gonna try to save that other one for tomorrow?
I'm not sure they're only 2 for, or 3 for $6, something like that, but yeah, I'm trying to save them.
You get the price of 3 for 2.
Yeah, that thing.
That's for $2.49.
Alright, Deadman Spring Trail, let's head out.
Stuff over yesterday to... Do you care if I move this stuff over?
So everybody, if you would take an inventory of everybody in your Jeep, and if you are missing anybody, please holler out, because while this is a beautiful spot, we don't want to be leaving anybody here.
What the dead cow?
Tracy might want to leave me here. No, Joel, you're working today, so we need you.
Yeah, that way it's easier to see what to send to us.
Makes sense.
Do you want the one where it looks like you're depressed because you're nap trapped? Or do you want to see it?
I wasn't trying to be depressed. I was trying to be cute about it.
You look...
But I was worried that she was gonna wake up, and she did for a second, and the light went on.
Oh.
And so I was like, oh shit, get back to sleep. And she did. For another 15 minutes.
Okay, Deadman Springs Trail. We are going to be coming to a fork in the road, and we want to take the right turn. So, I guess I would say, turn right at the tree, and please make sure that the Jeep behind you sees you, turn right at the tree.
So is this part of the spring?
No,
These little valley things?
that's just runoff.
Are these the things that look like they're dead?
Yeah, but they aren't really dead. back on the lower control arm of the rear.
Thank you very much. I forgot to mention during our safety meeting today that is really important, and that is, folks, drink today. Drink a lot of water. Obviously no alcohol, but drink a lot of water. And what happens, what we've typically seen many times on these trails, is everybody's feeling great, they're happy, and everything is good until about 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And then dehydration hits, and you start getting headaches, and you start feeling bad, and you just can't figure out why you feel so bad. Well, this desert, this dry country dehydrates you so fast. So, as an example, a typical Dasani bottle of water, each person should be drinking at least 4 to 5 of those a day between now and the end of the trail. So that's an idea about how much you should be drinking.
The more you know.
Now I got coffee.
I got coffee. I got chocolate now.
I got my Jeep. That too. So we were up there, then we came around.
I tell you, it's like checking corners right out.
Just long.
As we continue along the trail here and we work our way out of the Kayenta sandstone and get into the soft sand road, as you look out the window, we are heading towards a rather famous rock formation here in the area, and it'll be pretty obvious to you when you see it, but it's called the Twins.
We'll get a picture of the twins.
Oh, you can see it again. It's up here on the right.
these right here?
Yep.
The conjoined twins?
No, I can't. Entry. Are we going to the right of it? No, we're going to the left of it. Right of it.
Well, John and Peggy have made it down here to the base of the Twins, and we start to go through a whole series of drainages that we drive through. And one of the things that's interesting about the history of these drainages is that because there was a lot of Native American history in this area, because, believe it or not, back about 2,000 years ago, when the Antioch, or ancient Puebloans, or the Anasazi were here, there was a lot of water flowing through these drainages. And there was this whole valley, this whole area had a lot of population of Native Americans, and they just thrived here because there was a lot of water, there was a lot of game. They were able to adapt and adjust to the climate, and they did very well.
Pretty awesome.
And we will continue to talk about the Native Americans throughout the day. However, as you come around the base of the Twins, immediately you will see another rock formation that's real obvious from the side. It's called Queen Anne, or the Queen, depending upon what book you read. And if you look at the profile, you can see the chin and the lips and the mouth and where the eyes would be, and her forehead, and at the top is her crown.
Oh, I see it.
So the Native American populations that thrived in this area were, as I said, the Antioch and the ancient Puebloans and the Anasazi, but also after the Anasazi came the Fremont and Ute and Navajo Indians that lived in the area.
I'm gonna drop here, so hold on a second. Followed by we're gonna have a bump.
So in these Kayenta layers of sandstone were the places where the Native Americans built their cliff dwellings, and there are some cliff signs of relics in the area. The family units that lived in the dwellings were typically a husband and two wives. One wife was older and the other wife was younger, and they typically had anywhere from 5 to 6 children, and the children were required to help support the family unit. By the time they turned 8 years old, they were responsible and had to work to support the family.
That's just a brake pad squeal, baby. I can't fix that. That's what you were hearing yesterday?
No.
Okay.
Not in here right now.
Okay.
The dwellings that they lived in were two types, depending upon the season. In the winter, they were in the cliff dwellings up on the rocks. In the summer, they would come down into the valleys here, into the drainages to do farming. And the way they farmed was very interesting. They would go into the drainages and they would dig roughly 10-foot wide or round circles, 10-foot wide holes, about 3 to 4 feet deep, and let them set overnight. In the morning they'd come back and they'd be full of water because the water table was so high in this area, or there was actually flowing streams in some places. And what they would do from these 10-foot wide pools is they would then pull ditches or trenches and irrigate their crops. And they typically would grow melons and corn and onions and some types of spice plants.
Next example. Oh, Emma's awake? When did she wake up?
Came by the twins.
She heard twins, like, nope, I'm a single baby. Oh, the single babies. Oh, the single babies.
One of the things that they always did with their dwellings was they always faced the door or the opening to the east, and they used the rising sun as the signal or the alarm clock that it was time to get up and work the day.
About daylight savings time. I bet the teenagers like the winter.
Because there was so much water in this area, there was also a lot of game, a lot of wildlife. It was typically deer and squirrels and was it groundhogs, squirrels, and deer primarily, and they were able to get their meat supply from those animals. Is salt, and they were able to get their salt supply by having water go into a pool, let that water dry out and evaporate, and the white crust that remained were the minerals and the salt that they would then scrape up and use to keep themselves healthy with the salt in their diet.
Do you actually need salt though?
Sodium,
I guess it does act as a certain electrical inhibitor within the body.
plus it's a preservative.
That too.
I'm sure they used it in their meat. Let's have a grouch now.
I got my morning nap.
That home is usually 2 to 3 hours.
But mommy, I don't want to miss out on everything.
It's just a baby.
How many times did she wake up last night?
Twice.
And the night before was only once?
Yeah. She woke up at like 5 this morning also.
Yeah, no, that's when I woke up to take a shit.
She had gone back to sleep by the time you took a shower.
Oh, well. When I got out of the shower, she was bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, smiling at me and waving, saying, "Hey, Daddy, get me the fuck out of here." 2 words. I saw it in her face.
Do.
I love you. This is gonna be all on the GoPro. It's recording audio, babe.
Lead glitters up on top, John.
How many times have you done the F-bomb?
Twice. You've done it 5 times.
You're not counting, shut up.
I actually am. Fudge, Emma, fudge.
You're supposed to take the audio off and put the music on.
You gotta come with the music.
Why? I'm sure that is copyrighted by now.
I don't think they could copyright it.
Why?
Because it's technically My Lady Humps.
Talking about that the Native Americans grew for crops. They did corn and melons and lettuce and onions and radishes. But one of the things is there's a specific type of sage that grows on the bluffs above us, up on the flatlands that are above us. So they would actually climb up there, collect that sage material, and then bring it back, and they would make medicines out of it. And the medicines were very, very powerful. Some of the medicines that they made were quite hallucinogenic.
Peyote.
You said absolutely no drugs on the trail today. Joel, you're exactly right, but we're just not going to stop and allow people to make their own drugs today out of the sage. John and Peggy are, we saw some very fresh deer tracks in the soft sand, so keep an eye out. You might see one. Okay, yeah, Peggy says that it was to the passenger side up here where we're at in the soft sand.
I wasn't trying to. Play that sage.
There's a helicopter.
Is it really?
Yeah, right there.
Helicopter flying over.
You're being a bit of a jerk today.
So up here where your trail leader is, we are going down into a drainage and climbing back out and turning to the left. This whole canyon area here, if you were to come back and hike back up in and look closely at the rocks, there are some rock art examples up here. They're a little bit tough to get to. It's a bit of a hard climb and hiking to get to it, but there is some rock art. Like the Martlet Rock area that I showed you as we were driving out, the painted on rock art has been dated almost 2,000 years old, or about 2,000 years old. The painted ones are the oldest. The ones that are pecked into the rocks that remove the varnish, the desert varnish that is the blacking that occurs on the rocks, those are younger, but again, they're thousands of years old. little bit of a story. When I first started coming out here, I was really fascinated by the rock art, the symbols, and I decided that I was going to do a bunch of study, and I was going to learn to interpret what those symbols meant. So I went and bought a whole bunch of books, and I started reading, and I started studying, only to find out that now there are people that spend their entire lives, have multiple PhDs, and have spent literally their entire lives trying to interpret the rock art, and still only a little bit has been determined. So we are up here at a place where the trail is kind of hard to see. You will see a stacked up rock cairn that Scott and I did yesterday, because when I got up here yesterday, I had one of those, oh my, where's the trail moments. One of the really great things that the Red Rock Club does to help us leaders that are working the trails so that we don't have many of the where is the trail moments is they come along and paint white lines on the trail, on the slick rock. And that is really a big help for us leading these trails. And from time to time you'll see those white lines painted. And the rules are that when you see one of those white lines, you just put your Jeep right over the top of it, have that white line go under the middle of your Jeep, and you're on the trail.
Hey John, I've got some of that paint with me today if you need to touch something up or make something more obvious.
Oh, that's great, George. Yeah, there are a couple of places, especially at the lunch spot, that we might be able to touch up a little.
Okay, this one's gonna be a bit odd, so just give me a second here. Yep.
Stop pulling on Jaxie.
So when we're done with this, what I figure we'll do is we'll go and do Ops Pops, get our tires aired back up since we're not doing anything tomorrow.
Okay.
And then go and do
So George, speaking about the Red Rockers,
the Eastern
marking
Safari
the trails,
picture, and then go to the expo.
do you want to tell the story about back in the day, how they would actually put little dinosaurs and little markers on the trails to designate which ones they were?
We just can't hear him.
Sorry about that. to do back in George's dad's day is they would actually stencil cute little animals on that would denote the different kinds of trails, dinosaurs and bows and arrows and things like that. But it became such an effort to maintain all of those that they just finally evolved to just doing the white stripes. But it was really cool when you do the trails, you see the little animals denoting that you were on the correct trail.
Not at all.
It's your right, don't you?
Oh my God, stop it. You don't know me.
Okay.
It's just a baby.
It's just a baby.
Alright, Deadman Springs Trail. We are coming up to a right turn that's gonna take us out to the lunch spot. And we will, after lunch, we will backtrack back to this spot, but we'll continue on over to the Green River Overlook. But for right now, we are going to make a right-hand turn, so please make sure that the Jeep behind you sees you make that turn.
Your teeth are really starting to come in now. The ones on the bottom. I see them when you smile. I see them when you smile. Yeah.
And she's like, stop picking on my teeth, mommy.
So they still tell you they still rub my eyes. I want you to sleep. Be sleepy, baby. CP just a baby. It's just a baby.
Bump. Lean back. Lean back.
Look at the sky.
That's about all you're gonna see. You know, if we would have done Buttes and Towers last year, we never would have got to meet Becky and all them.
Why is that the day that we?
That's the day we went out and did all the expo stuff. So what were you saying about Hurricane, baby? I thought it's so we can call Matt's off-road recovery.
So we can do what?
Call Matt's off-road recovery.
$2,000 freaking recovery. Nope, Jack, stay. It's okay. Stay, Jax. It's okay, baby.
Joel, have you made the right turn?
We have.
Yes, Joel has made the right turn.
Bump. I tightened down the tire again, and it's not making that squeak noise anymore. Couple bumps here.
Thank you, George. Appreciate it.
I feel like a bubblehead dog.
Okay, Deadman Springs Trail, we are going to be coming to our lunch site here in 10-15 minutes or so. And it's another one of those areas where we're going to be marking on Slick Rock. And I would like to ask for everybody to do just like we did before. I'm going to go down and make a big loop around. And if people could just follow me, then we can get everybody into this spot. And we will have lunch. It will take about a half an hour for lunch. And while we're here, you want to be sure that you walk over to Spring Canyon. We're going to park relatively close to Spring Canyon. It's a real large drainage, and it's got some spectacular cliff sites and cliff views. But again, as we said before, don't walk off the cliff, guys.
Apparently that's happened.
Seriously?
Yeah, you said that in the beginning. Like, anybody that's got hurt on this trail was never inside of a vehicle. It was always outside the vehicles, where somebody just like walked off a cliff or fell off a rock or got into a thorn bush.
I wonder if anyone's been hurt on Hill Roaring Rim. 10,000-foot drop.
We had a couple of steps here, so just hold on a second.
Whee! Who is it?
Like you.
You like my song?
Shabu. Can't be true.
Peggy, how many participants do we have today, group?
Yep.
I think we have 25 Jeeps that have to go. Yep. Thank you.
Everything is moving. Yeah, I'll be there for you. Right by. You like my song?
Jax, you doing alright? Better than yesterday?
Only when you scrape the bottom does she freak out and want to jump in your lap. Today.
We've only scraped our bottom once. Oh, we hit the hitch. Are you counting the hitch as the bottom?
Well, when Jason tries to jump in your lap, yeah.
I'm just a baby.
It's just a baby. So cute. Oh, the cute baby. Oh, the cutie baby. I'll be there for you.
Yeah, when we're almost to our spot, we'll set up your little chair.
Yeah, we'll give her extra food.
And Emma gets a 3-course meal and mommy and daddy eat chips.
Well, it's, I think, strawberries, bananas, and raspberries.
Ooh.
I think. Half of it. I think that's the one to grab.
Okay, Deadman Springs Trail, we have arrived at our lunch spot. So I'm going to do the old circle up
10,
thing
15
that we
minutes,
did
5
before.
minutes later.
And at some point in time, we have to make a break and form a second line, and then we'll be able to all get out of here easily.
I stand corrected. We're supposed to have 25, but 3 people did 3 Jeeps not count. We have a total of 20 Jeeps today.
John, do you circle the wagons in case the Indians show up while we're eating lunch, or how's that work?
Well, I'm just trying to keep everybody safe, Joel, for sure.
I think they like Native Americans.
So this particular area where we're at is someplace that, if you like to do some hiking, has some fabulous hiking up and down the canyon. The upstream part of the canyon where the spires are that you can see, there is some wonderful hiking and scenery up there, plus there's some rock art up there. And then, of course, down the canyon, if you want to continue down, there's beautiful scenery down canyon as well.
Poor Jack. Jack's been getting beat by the metal mirror for the last couple minutes. That's why his eyes are blue. He's got a concussion.
No, go see these. Don't do it. We're gonna get out. No, go see these. Don't do it. I keep trying to figure it out. What is in the back of this Jeep?
A dragon?
Is it a dragon?
Mm-hmm.
No, on the left.
Stingray?
Is it a stingray?
Yep.
How is that a stingray?
Look at the tail. And the wings.
Car decal I've ever seen.
Oh, sorry, I parked too close. Sorry about that. I didn't realize I parked too close for your swing gate. Hi, puppy. Oh, who's a good girl? Oh, you wanting the ball? Is that what you're getting at?
No, baby, it hurt your feet.
Let me get him. Hey, look, it's Olaf. Olaf.
Hold on. Are you poopy? Hold on. Nope. I just need to change it before we go. Wakanda to ceiling. Wakanda to ceiling. Wakanda. Do you want your phone?
Sure.
Sorry, Jax, hold on.
Come on, Jackson. Jackson. Come over here. Careful. Good girl.
As Jaxie knocked it over.
Are you awake? Are you awake? Oh, mommy. I'm almost there. I can almost reach it.
All right, then we will continue rolling. This area that we're going through now to get out of here is really a fun little area for some jeeping. It's a little bit more difficult than what we did this morning, but not a lot. There's some really great drainages that we go down into and then back out of. So it is one of those areas that every single one of the vehicles that are here has the capability to handle the drainages with ease. But if you as a driver decide that you would like to have some assistance and a spotter, boy, don't hesitate to holler out, because we'll all be glad to give you a hand. So that's what the Jeeping and Jeep community is all about.
She was almost falling asleep before lunch, so I'm hoping she'll
Go right back to sleep.
calm down and take a nap. Did you get your phone back?
Hey, George.
I still have it.
You should still have it.
I got it.
What was that? I could hear you. Immediate difference. Immense. Awesome. How we doing back there, George? We got everybody moving? Yeah, we're gonna move. Copy that, thank you.
Why are they calling my gunner?
It's a motorcycle term, actually. And a military term. It's like a plane, right? So you have your tail gunner and your mid gunners. So if you're flying a plane in one continuous line.
We got some oncoming traffic coming our way, so hopefully they will pull off and let us get by here. So we'll see what happens here.
You're getting distance with that now, girl. Yeah, you shouldn't spit at mommy. Oh my goodness. Emma.
Swing, little Jack, Jack, swing. She alright?
Yeah, she's coming. Are you tired of getting drinks up?
Okay, George, they have pulled off on some slick rock, and they know that when you come by, you'll let them know that you're the tail gunner.
I gotta figure out which one to get today.
Sounds good, thank you, John.
Don't you have the picture so you can kind of decide?
Oh yeah, dude. Good thought, Daddy. Good thought. Are you gonna try anything different?
No, I like the one I get.
I think you should try something.
I don't think I should try anything different.
Alright, well, when you ask me what it is, I'm going to tell you something different.
Oh my god. You're a turd. I help you out, then you burn me.
Let's see, what does Jenny want?
Oh my god.
Probably on your own.
So Deadman Springs Trail, as we're moving along here, and we are heading out towards the Green River. A lot of people ask us, well, how did these trails ever get out here in the first place? What
One of the guys we were with yesterday.
What made you decide to go or drive where you drive? Well, there's basically two kinds of trails out here. Well, three, I guess. The regular county roads that we came in on, like Spring Canyon Road, that's a regular county road. And then there are the roads that, like we are on right now, which was actually, back in the day, was originally a game trail. And when the original folks came out here to explore, the first hints that they would use to build the roads were, where did the game walk? And that was typically where they would do it. And they would just follow the cattle. The cowboys would follow the cattle. And eventually the cattle and the game would make a road that was the easiest way to go. And then it became Jeep trails from there as wagons turned into vehicles and trucks. And then of course we got to the Jeeps that we have today. Then the third kind of road that we have in the area are seismic roads. And we will talk about the seismic roads here in a little bit when we get down towards the Green River, because all the roads that we'll be on will be seismic roads that were actually created with the oil and gas companies who were doing seismic readings to find the pockets of oil and gas. And those you will see will be very straight roads. So we'll talk more about those here a little later.
So John, just to touch on that a little bit, there's actually what would be, I guess, a fourth kind. So seismic would be the straight roads where they're laying geophones out and such for the exploration. And then you have uranium exploration roads, and that's typically some of these windy roads as well.
You have nachos.
Where
I'm sure it's kind of like
a geologist was going out and just looking for certain outcrops.
concessions to nachos, but they have colored peanuts for it.
Yeah.
They just were trying to get there, not necessarily in a straight line like a seismic road, but the best way to get a rig in there, either a core or a reverse circ or something.
Hot dog, corn dog, cookies, pretzel bites, pretzel.
Yeah, George, great information. Thank you very much for that.
You have a monster. Monster on the rocks.
Is it actually Monster?
Yeah.
George mentioned the uranium prospecting roads, the geologists that were looking for uranium.
No, you might.
We're going to talk a lot about that this afternoon after we leave the Green River overlook that we're going to.
Emma Cream.
And especially we'll be talking about a guy by the name of Charlie Steen. So we'll get to that here in a minute. But right now, the trail leader has come to the intersection that we turned at to go to the lunch site. But this time we just continue straight. So please make sure that the Jeep in front of, or the Jeep behind you, sees you continue straight.
yellow?
It's in the back.
Okay. So in this group, we'll
So up here where the trail leader is, we have come to one of the spots that's a little bit of an obstacle. And it can be a little bit confusing because some people tried to go around. The trail is to the left. So there's a tree kind of right in the middle of what looks like the trail. The actual trail is on the left side, whereas people have tried to do trail widening to the right. So please stay to the left and take the left side.
I wonder if we accidentally did trail widening and on Secret Spire when we got lost.
We were technically on Sandrock though when we got lost.
Yeah, but we would have been on Sandrock when we could have gone around that
Trail went straight to the
obstacle, and they didn't let us.
Thank you, George.
You want your water, baby?
I show a little bit more of my Garrett, and then I'll get it.
Your Cheez-Its?
No, I know. I'd rather get real food when we're done.
Are you okay?
I'm started.
Why don't you take a nap?
You're funny.
I could sleep during this.
That's because it's you. I'm gonna sleep through it.
Screaming Emma? Yep.
You're not very nice when you wake up from screaming Emma.
You said to stay to the left, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Why?
I'm just trying to remember. Up
here where the trail leader is, we just went over a little obstacle that drops down into a drainage. At the very beginning you might think, ooh, that looks tippy, but it's not. You'll be perfectly fine.
Dip potato chip. You okay? What's the safe word of the day for off-roading?
What do you mean?
Yesterday you came up with, what was it? I can't remember what yesterday was.
Oh, that you're gonna hit something on my side?
Yeah.
It was hated day yesterday.
Okay, what's the one today? No, Emma, stop.
Well, you might be in trouble then.
I know, right? Where they're talking about. So just give me a second here. Morocco.
Kind of not seeing the dog try to bite the trees. Last time Emma got vaccines, the nurse said she had a very girly scream.
Didn't you say it's because she's a girl?
No. I just kind of looked at her.
So, Deadman Springs Trail, as we traverse down through this drainage here, if there's anybody who would like a spot, just holler out and we'll come a-running.
We asked for a spot, you can just hear.
Oh no, it's us.
Wee wee.
Wee woo, wee woo. We should watch it maybe and see if she likes Despicable Me.
Oh, we're doing fine. We're right down here below you, John.
No, no, no. No, no, no. No.
Nicely done.
How bad is this thing? If they're congratulating Wranglers.
FJ Cruiser.
Oh. I thought they were behind us.
They're in front.
Ooh, shit. So this rock on the right that has...
Did I hear somebody calling for help? We're doing good.
Wait. Where he goes, don't go very, very straight, because you just smack the shit on the back.
I see it.
Yeah, try to go left of that if you can a little bit. Or you might not be able to. But that's what he just hit. That either.
Mid gunner is through the drainage, John. Great, Joel, thank you.
See, I don't want mine pinstriped.
We'll get some magnets for yours.
As you pinstripe.
You know how much pinstriping we have on this?
You pinstriped mine.
Did I?
You told me you did.
No, I didn't.
You told
Came
me
close.
You did.
I want to hug this rock here.
You might want to let them up.
You want to?
Is that Wrangler's backing up? Or Gladiator? So the Cruiser has lockers?
No. Alright, we're gonna go mud mode for this one.
No, no, no.
Looks like we got an open mic going. Could everybody check, make sure that your CB mic does not have the button pushed?
Alright, hold on a second here. I forget what I'm doing here. So we have got to go that way and over.
You're doing well back here, John. Yeah, we got an open light going. Somebody here, CB, we got an open light going.
It's not us, right?
Nope. a second.
Be careful.
Am I looking on that side?
I can't tell. You should be careful because we're
On a cliff, I know.
Straight back just like that.
I didn't like that one. I didn't like that one at all. It's my side. I didn't like that one. Oh. Oh.
Good job, Lee. Good job.
Is that Lee up above us?
I think so.
We need to think him before then. Wasn't that we didn't know what when it
We just had to get the right line.
wasn't even necessarily we didn't know what line to go. It was getting up it. That was funny. They were like, "Oh, I can't do 10 hours." Oh, that's like a cake.
That's like Florida.
Well, Florida was 12.
Yep.
Well, I guess we can go to the Keys now. It's 19.
Right.
You're doing so good.
Dip, dip. Dip.
Deadman Springs Trail, probably something that I should have mentioned to you guys before. A little bit of a driving technique when you're on these ledges is, or when you're trying to climb these ledges. Well, actually going down, same thing, climbing or going down. Don't take them straight on at an exact 90-degree angle. Get yourself at just a little bit of an angle so that one front tire touches the ledge about an inch before the other tire.
Okay.
And the trick is you get one front tire to climb, then the second front tire will climb right up and you won't even slip a wheel. And then maintain that angle for the rear wheels. Get one one rear tire to climb first, and then the second rear tire will climb right after it, and you'll just climb up those ledges like they weren't even there.
Half the battle's the computer on this thing. Alright, you ready?
Okay, copy that, Scott. Thank you. I'll slow down here and we'll let everybody catch up. Appreciate that very much. I'm going to get up on top of the mesa here so I can get some good radio reception, and then we'll stop and wait. All right, Deadman Springs Trail, we are going to stop here, and we are actually at an intersection in the road, and we want to make sure that everybody turns left on this intersection. Please make sure that the Jeep behind you sees you make that left-hand turn.
Baby.
Okay.
Come on, baby. Woo! Sorry.
You shouldn't have been picking up that. That was just as hard as yesterday. Wasn't it?
A little bit.
And they stacked rock yesterday.
Scott, how you doing back there? Okay, I'm going to go ahead and move forward then.
No, the D-ring hasn't gotten any shapes yet. So it has to be that that receiver hitch that you got.
It is.
Well, at least you have an extra one now.
Mm-hmm. For yours.
I want the red one.
No.
We're getting you one at Grace McPG Conversion. Blue one.
Are you?
Mm-hmm. It's only like $13. This one's definitely not one to go on while pregnant.
Is she?
You should show little clips of it when exactly Emma fell asleep. Like during this, Emma fell asleep. During this, Emma fell asleep. How's the transmission going?
She's hot,
But she's okay for
but she's okay. She just needs to cool down a little bit. So we're just gonna take it nice and easy
till we have to.
till we have to. There you go. She's going down now.
Okay, Deadman Springs Trail, the leaders have come to an intersection of the road, and that road is actually, we're back to Spring Bottom Canyon Road. So we are going to make a left turn on this county road. So please make sure that you watch for traffic. I mean, there's not a lot out here, but there could be some Jeep and truck traffic. We're going to make a left turn and go up maybe, just a few hundred yards, and then turn off again and make a right-hand turn. Get back on a trail heading out to the Monon Bend.
The what?
Monon Bend.
So we're going to sit here at this road to get everybody all caught up. And George, if you would let me know when you get up on the seismic road, up on the mesa.
That's one thing we need to get better about.
What's that?
Not taking things straight on.
Yeah, I know.
Then we kind of had to because we didn't have a choice on that one.
Yeah, there's
but
no getting more momentum before we start some stuff. Because when we back up and we start halfway up the obstacle, it doesn't help anything.
I just didn't like the one that was my side was going to go kaput.
There it is. Bump. There's gonna be another bump here in a second.
Okay.
No, that one didn't bump at all. Doesn't that crack you up in the ones that you don't expect to bump, and then the ones that do bump,
Yeah,
don't bump at all?
I chuckle when you tell me, or you don't tell me, and I like almost fly on my seat, and then you do tell me, and it's like,
Doop doop.
Deadman Springs Trail. We are coming to Spring Bottom Canyon Road, and we're going to be making a left turn on this county road. So again, please
Thanks again.
keep an eye out for traffic. And we're going to go up here just a little ways and make a right-hand turn. So I'll give you a notice when we do that.
Yep.
What's the crossword game?
And by the way, you can just go ahead and leave it in low range and four-wheel drive, because this short period of time, it's not going to be a problem at all. So this route that we're taking you on now is one that George and I spent actually a lot of time on last year. Technically, this is all new. We got it permitted. George and I submitted an application to the Red Rockers, who then submitted it to the BLM for approval, because what we wanted to do was to take you folks out to the Green River, to a Green River overlook, and to take a look at the uranium mine that is on the bluffs and in the cliffs across the way from the Green River. And as we continue on, we'll talk about that some more. We are going to be making a right-hand turn off of Spring Canyon Bottom Road down back into a really nice little Jeep trail. We selected this trail because it's just really interesting. It's got a lot of drainages, a lot of turns, lots of wiggles and waggles, and it's just a fun little Jeep road. So George, if you could let me know when you get turned off of Spring Canyon Bottom Road, and then we'll talk about some other stuff when you get on the trail.
George may not be able to hear you. He's still not even on the main road here. They've got a slow runway back. Bid Gunner has made the turn, John.
Thank you, Joel. Okay, thank you for that update too. So for you folks in the rear, if you could kind of relay to George to let us know when he makes the turn. Can you see the group to see where the right-hand turn is?
Yes. Okay, the last one's George, and then made it to the main road.
Okay, looks like we're all bunched up again, and folks are getting to the right-hand turn onto the new trail, so we will continue.
2 hours, 22 minutes left.
I don't think we're having another 2 hours.
So this road that we're on now is definitely one of those that George was talking about, where it was a combination of seismic work and uranium exploration. And from time to time, you'll see our actual claims up here where John and Peggy are the leaders. We just passed a mine claim that is just a simple stick in the ground with a white top on it. And it was on the driver's side as we came around the corner, so kind of keep an eye out for those. Uranium mining is a huge part of the infrastructure and a huge part of the history here in the whole Moab area. And it was basically all started by a guy by the name of Charlie Steen. And Charlie Steen is just a real character in history. He's a true rags to riches story. But he's the guy who started the uranium boom era in this area back in the real early 1950s. It actually was 1950 when he started.
And he was driving a Jeep.
Did you catch that last
He
part?
was absolutely driving a Jeep. And the story behind that Jeep was kind of cool, the lead up to that story, where Charlie Steen started out when he got out of college. He went to a mining college that was associated with what is today Texas A&M, and he got his degree and went to work for Standard Oil. And he went all over the country with Standard Oil, prospecting for oil and doing the seismic work that we see the results of today. But he was kind of an outspoken guy, and he had other ideas about how Standard Oil should be looking for oil and gas. And he made his thoughts known so strongly that they fired him. And he ran around for a while without anything to do until one day the U.S. Energy Commission, which turned into the Atomic Energy Commission, United States Energy Commission, announced that they would be buying $3 million a month of uranium. And boy, did that ever create a uranium rush. Well, Charlie Steen was thinking about all of the places, especially around here in Utah, that he prospected for gas and oil, and thought, I know exactly where there's going to be some uranium.
How much amount? 30 million?
3 million.
No, 3 million?
Back in 1950 something. Which in today's money would probably be close to 150 million.
Why is inflation so bad?
So what happened with Charlie Steen then was he was broke. I mean, he didn't have a job and he was broke, so he actually borrowed $1,000 from his mother and bought a old Jeep, 48 flat fender Jeep, and he bought an old broken down, used, wore out drill and coring machine and brought it all to an area called the Lisbon Valley, which is south of Moab, down by the LaSalle area. If any of you have run Jack's Tracks or Cameo Cliffs, that is the area where Charlie found his uranium and formed his mine, his claim, and he named it the Maivita mine. Maivita.
My life?
Mm-hmm.
from further back, I can kind of see the stingray now. It's still such a weird. I don't know if it's the red that makes it hard to me to see. I don't know.
Alright, we're definitely gonna hit some stuff here, so just hold on a second. Some kind of speed, so just hold on a second here.
So the story goes about Charlie Steen that he was drilling one day in the Lisbon Valley, and he was running his drill, and it went down and it hit some really hard, deep, dense black material, and it broke the bit on his drill. And so he had to pull it all up and get the bit off of the pipe and load it up in his Jeep and take it into Cisco. And he knew a guy there that had the ability, he had a company, he had the ability to repair broken bits, because it was there was a lot of drilling and exploring going on. So they cleaned the bit up enough so that the guy could do repair work, and Charlie Steen took this black material and put it in a brown paper bag and took it to another gentleman that owned the gas station, who happened to have a Geiger counter. Charlie Steen was so poor he didn't even have a Geiger counter because they were really expensive. So this gentleman in Cisco had a Geiger counter, and Charlie Steen plops his paper bag full of this black material up on the counter, and the gentleman goes and gets his Geiger counter and turns it on, and immediately it pegs the needle. And Charlie Steen knew instantly that he had found his uranium at the Maidita mine. And the concentration, the ore, was so strong that the gentleman at the gas station who had the Geiger counter accused Charlie Steen of seeding the material to be able to file a claim. And the people in the assay office had never seen material that was that strong and pure, and they also accused Charlie Steen of seeding the material, the test material. But no, in fact, it turned out to be true, and Charlie Steen became a very wealthy man after that.
And then did he die of cancer? Because, you know, radioactive material. I doubt they were wearing the proper
PPE.
We're getting a tad behind you, John.
Okay, copy that, Joel. We're just going to go ahead and stop here and let people catch up.
Come on, baby.
Good idea, Em. Not that you wouldn't take that yourself.
No, baby, I appreciate it.
Well, the first half of this trip, I was like, oh, maybe I could do this. And I'm like, nope, don't want to.
We can get some for you that are actually painted and good to go for about $800. shipped to us from Canada.
You don't like the Frog Fab one?
That's what I'm talking about. Is the Frog Fab ones.
Or what's the other kind?
There's several different kinds.
What's the ones I like and you said no?
The super sliders. Frog Fab makes those. The ones that have the kick out step?
Yeah.
Yeah, they make those.
Then why you told me no?
Because the ones that you were looking at were from, what's it called? Shit, one of the other companies, they take like 6 months to make them. And even then you may not be getting them in 6 months. It may take like a year because they're so far behind on everything.
So as we're sitting here waiting for everybody to catch up, some more story about Charlie Steen is that as he gained his wealth and he became very philanthropic in the Moab area. He built hospitals and churches and schools and libraries and built streets and infrastructure and brought in plumbing and it just did a whole bunch of things that the city of Moab just couldn't afford to do. But one of the things that he also built was the Great Big Atlas Mill that's right there at the intersection of Highway 191 and the Colorado River. And that was a going concern processing uranium, hundreds of tons a day of uranium that they would process out of there and take it out on trucks and trains. Well, the problem with that is that back in the day, back in the 50s when they built those things, there wasn't a whole lot of environmental concern. And unfortunately today, that mill site has become a Superfund site, and the government is spending literally millions of dollars to clean up the earth and the dirt underneath that site. And they're digging it up, putting it on a train that goes out of the valley there and off to a site where there is this bedrock location just north of I-70. And they are burying this material on this bedrock location and sealing it and containing it so that it will be safe for, thousands and thousands of years from now.
John, I actually looked at that mill, that Atlas Mill, in 1975.
Oh, no kidding. Oh, I bet you've got some great stories to tell about all of that then.
Yeah, I'm still now.
He worked there?
I don't know if any of you have ever eaten at the Sunset House that's up on the hill in Moab, just north of the city there. That is now a restaurant, but that was Charlie Steen's actual personal residence for many years.
Oh, that one all the
Before
way.
it was sold, back just quite a while, it was known as the My Vita restaurant.
Well, it used to be known as the My Vita restaurant.
So whoever was talking about the My Vita, you came and went. If you could repeat that, we lost you.
You doing alright, Jaxie Jax?
Yeah, she's doing great.
One of the fun stories that we like to tell about Charlie Steen is that he was a real aviation buff, and he owned several airplanes. And one of the things that he would do is he would jump in one of his airplanes and fly up to Grand Junction, because there was a particular restaurant that had wonderful hamburgers. And so he would fly up to Grand Junction and have a hamburger and come back. Also, one of the things that he did with his children was there wasn't any good television signal in Moab until he brought in some infrastructure. But before that, his kids wanted to watch Saturday morning cartoons. Remember back in the day, Saturday morning cartoons? So he would put the kids and a television in his airplane, would go up and fly up to a height where they could pick up a television signal, and he would fly around and enjoy his flying, and the kids would sit in the back and watch Saturday morning cartoons for half an hour, and when those were done, he'd come back.
No, that's rich. That's a different tax break.
There's the Henrys.
So this area that we are headed to right now, I just call it the Bonot Mine overlook, because it is an overlook where you can see just a little strip of the Green River as part of the Bonot Bend. And but what's interesting for me, and I hope you find it interesting as well, is that across the river is a uranium mine called the Bonot Mine. And what's fascinating about it is that the only way that you could get to it today is by boat. And in the original formation of that mine, the only way they could get to it was by boat. However, as they continued to develop the infrastructure of the mine, they had built 2 tramways and 1 cable-run ferry, a cable-guided ferry. So they ran cables across the river and pulled ferry back and forth to get the ore out of the mine and to the road to haul it out to Moab.
Give me a little bump here, baby.
One of the interesting stories about the Beaumont mine is that it was a very rich pocket of uranium and vanadium ore, but it turned out to be a very small pocket. That pocket that was there was extremely rich, and they actually mined out a cavern from the cliff. And so there were 2 entrances from the cliffside as they continued to mine the vein of uranium and vanadium. And they actually created a cavern that is roughly the size of a football field inside the mountain there, with 2 entrances. They would build structure to hold it from falling down, to prevent the rock from falling down. They built structure. They actually used the same techniques that they used in marble mining or quarry, where they would dig out the material but leave columns of that material from the floor to the ceiling to hold the ceiling up. So that big cavern is still there today.
What is that?
So we haven't been recording any of this? Oh, they have the retractable rock sliders. Fancy.
Deadman Springs Trail, I hear that we are all bunched up again, so we will continue on. So we were talking earlier about the Beaumont mine here and that big cavern that's inside the cliff. Well, the Department of Energy has come in and they have completely sealed that off. They have concreted up the entrances and they put warning signs up because the story goes that the inside of that mine, the cavern, is highly, highly radioactive. I mean, very high concentrations of radioactivity. One of the sad parts of the story of the Beaumont mine is that virtually every one of the workers of the Beaumont mine, because they were enclosed inside this cavern as they did their work, every one of them died of the effects of radiation poisoning at a very young age.
All of them? Every mine people?
Depending on the ventilation, no. So you're did it vibrate on you? Just say congratulations.
So when we get to the parking area here for the overlook, I'll let you know. And we're gonna ask everybody to just kind of follow me. I'm gonna make a big loop, and I'm gonna ask you to follow me so that we'll be headed out again, and we'll get everybody in. And then for those who are interested in doing the little hike, and the hike is not difficult. But it is about a 10-15 minute hike to get to the overlook. If you have binoculars, by all means bring them, because there are some old houses, there's some tailing, there's some structure, some things like that to see for the Beaumont mine. And then of course a little snippet of the Green River that we'll be able to see from where we're at. It's just kind of an interesting place.
You alright?
the mesa, if you look to the passenger side, you can start to see some deep canyon. Well, that is a very deep gorge of a drainage that drains into the Green River. But I don't know the name of that canyon. George, do you by chance know what the name of that canyon and drainage is?
I may be in a little different position from you, but to the southwest, but definitely. Bottom should be kind of basically generally looking at the way that everybody's driving, like at 2 o'clock and possibly 3 o'clock.
When we get up here to the overlook site, could I ask you to maybe do me a favor and help me get folks gathered up, and we'll take them over to, we'll walk them over to where we went yesterday?
I'm still asleep, so we're probably not going to be able to do it, babe.
You want me to go do it, and you can stay with the kiddos?
You want me to?
Okay. Or do you want to do it and I'll stay with the kiddos?
Scott, you got a copy?
You can go if you want.
Okay.
But you can hear me okay, Joel, right?
I don't know. Sorry, baby.
Okay, Deadman Springs Trail, your trail leader has made it to a right-hand turn where we turn into the overlook. You kind of need to bend your Jeep around this tree right here. So please, as you bend around the tree, make sure the Jeep behind you sees you make the turn. Go real slow through here because it's real important that people follow me exactly, because if you continue to go straight, you'll drive off of a great big ledge, and we don't want to do that. Hey Scott, can you hear me?
I heard you.
Friends cast, starting with the iconic Bruce Springsteen video from 1984. Now, I know that's kind of outside of our parameters, but it's too good not to include. The video was directed by Brian De Palma, and it features a young Courtney Cox.
Hey Scott, can you hear me?
We have a little delay back here. Figures up off I think I'm about 4 or 5 feet from the front. Yeah, we're definitely.
There's people in the back. Complaining.
About what?
They won't make their own trail.
Are you kidding me?
We don't mind being in the back because we like to make our own trail. That, I don't know if they were talking.
You want windows up or down, baby? Okay. It's unlocked if you need to roll yours up. Oh, sorry.
Alright, Deadman Springs Trail. That was the Bow Not Mine. And we are going to be leaving here and getting back on the trail again and making a right-hand turn to complete the loop out.
Hey John, real quick, before I forget, because I've forgotten all day, if anybody's interested in any of the 4xe Mud Fun drawing tickets, I have some of those with me.
Someone says about 20 minutes to the main road and then 30 minutes out. exact Jeep that said it, or like several Jeeps back, or?
The guy with the or with the
Oh, okay. The one that was up here, talking to the guy about the CB.
maybe. All I know is
All right, Deadman Springs Trail, we are heading on our way out
the
now.
left.
We're going to work our way out on some seismic roads that will take us back to Spring Canyon Bottom Road.
The only trailer you're allowed.
And when we get to that road, all you have to do is take a right and head out to the highway.
Oh, the guy that was walking
For
on the
those
rocks.
of you who might have interest in looking
Yeah.
at some rock art, I would highly recommend that you stop at the Bartlett Rock site that's there. It's well worth the time to see that.
I have to wonder if some of this is still like radioactive areas, and they don't want you to go to certain areas because of the radioactivity.
Well, they just got the permit for this too.
Yeah.
So maybe they just don't want.
John, how
To be
far
on shut
down
down.
that road is the artwork? If anybody wants to stop at the Bartlett artwork, when you get on that road, you can actually see the caverns in the wall right from the road, and it just takes just a few minutes to get back in there and park and walk up to where the artwork is. We did that, I think it was last year with John, and it is very impressive to see.
Do you want to go see it or no?
She's still sleeping.
George, if you could let me know when you're moving and everybody's out of the parking spot.
So, when it is moving.
No, I did not. Not on the CB, I didn't.
Try to keep the sand down in here. it.
We did last
Joel,
year.
hit me again. Let's see if I fix what's wrong. Can you hear me now, Jared? Yeah, no, I still got an issue. I could hear you on the CB just now. This is Tom, 3rd XJ. Or anyway, I can hear you.
Megan hates the song.
Oh yeah. She doesn't like Lizzo at all.
Nope.
I do.
I know you do. That's why I haven't changed the song.
Huh?
That's why I haven't changed the song. I'm not saying she isn't. Plus size woman.
Okay, Deadman Springs Trail, when we get up here to an intersection to a Y, we want to take the left, exchange the left turn on the Y. Please make sure that the Jeep behind you sees you make that left turn.
One walked by and I don't know if it's his dogs or Jeep or whatnot. He's like, that thing made it up.
Somebody say that.
Yeah. I'd be like, yeah. I don't understand the style for
Wrangler. Well, there's Jeep Pierce. You believe the only Jeep that's ever been made is the Wrangler. Everything
Okay,
else is
Deadman
bullshit.
Springs Trail, as we travel along this seismic road, which of course is a classic example of a road that was created by oil and gas companies. If you look out your front and to your driver's side, you will see Frankenrock or Frankenstein rock, depending upon who's talking and who's naming it. If you look at the rock, you can see on the right-hand side, his toes and feet are sticking up. And then as you move left, you can see his legs, and then his body and his belly there, and then down to his neck. And then finally, you can see his face and head on the left-hand side. That's Frankenrock. So Deadman Springs Trail, we are heading out and we're working our way to Spring Canyon Bottom Road. And I think at that point we'll go ahead and call the end to the trail. And you folks are free to explore as you will when we get to Spring Canyon Bottom Road. Or you can make a right-hand turn and follow the dirt road all the way out to the highway. And if you wish to air up, you got several places that you can do it. You can do it right there where we join the road, or you can go back to the Lone Mesa campground where we aired down, or you can go over to the highway 313 and go over to the view area, the paved view area. At that paved view area, there is a pit toilet there as well. And on behalf of Peggy and I and Joel and George, we just wanted to thank you all very much for joining us. We loved having you guys. You guys were a great group. I have got CB troubles, by the way, here. I can transmit, but I can't hear. So I am going to say thank you so much and goodbye. And if you have some comments, please let Joel and George know. And speaking of comments, the comment cards that you were given are very, very important to us. Please fill them out. If there's something that you liked, tell us. If there's something you didn't like, especially tell us. If you didn't like something, we can't fix it if we don't know about it. So please fill those comment cards out if you would. So with that, I'll tell you goodbye, and you guys are going to have to communicate with George and Joel because my darn radio went bad and I didn't receive anything. So thank you again.
That's who it was.
Yeah.
Took me a second.
I thought so too. What did you think it was?
Trail center guys. We had a great trail today. Thanks to all the people that were with us.
You not like it?
No, it's alright.
Awesome trip. Thanks, guys.
Want to find out real quick?
Mine's your 7 right years.
Yep.
Why don't you wait until you can figure it out with Eric or something? No, I should not. Emma!
She away. She's like, the Jeep isn't rocking. What's going on? I'm concerned.
Okay. Take a good, like 2-hour nap. Was that a good nap?
Oh, there's a good shot of Frankenstein.
All right, we've got some traffic coming our way, so we are going to have to try to find some way to pass. Well, they're kind of pulling off onto the weeds here a little bit, so we're going to have to pass them here, unfortunately.
Okay. So what did the guy say to you about the computer?
Oh,
I was explaining to him, like, the computer cuts power when it sends the slippage, try to force power to
Well,
the tire.
unfortunately, those folks have pulled off into the weeds, which we really don't like to see, but they did it before I could stop them, so that's too bad.
Razors.
In the random car.
Yeah. From Nebraska. So I was explaining to him like what the computer was doing. He's like, it seemed like you had no power. And I was like, yeah, that's because the computer killed the power. So it's a constant battle with getting enough momentum and fighting the computer to get traction. He's like, I gotcha. He's like, but you did a great job getting up those rocks. I was like, yeah, thank you. Thank you for helping spot me a little bit. Either I want the ocean or I want this. There's no in between. You know what I mean, baby?
There's no enough green.
There's green.
No.
The trees are green.
Those are not fucking trees.
Juniper trees. They're a tree classification.
They're bush.
Go take it up with some botanist or florist or whatever fucking botanist. See, I was right the first time. Oh my god. No,
1,000-year-old bush.
the bush is 1,000-year-old bush is close between your legs. Ah! You don't think it's funny?
All right, Deadman Springs Trail. I'm going to pull off here to the left. The road out is to the right. So you folks all have a wonderful day and be careful and be safe. And just follow this dirt road out to the pavement and away you go.
Today's Wednesday, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Why, what's up?
Our pictures are today.
Mm-hmm. I gotta wash the Jeep real quick.
Well, I want to take a shower then. He's with us, right?
Yeah.
Where do we have to go for him?
I don't know. When we get there, we'll ask him about it. I want to go to that overlook like we did yesterday and go by from there. Is that okay? Nobody seems to want to stop there, so it works well for us. Thanks again.